I bought my first apartment building at 24 years old, and I didn't have a Wall Street job, I didn't have some fancy degree, and I didn't have a trust fund. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it step by step. Most people think that buying apartment buildings is only for the rich billionaires or the private equity firms, but that's just not the case. You can go out there and buy an apartment building this year. And coming up, I'm gonna show you the biggest mistake that most people make when trying to buy their first apartment building and how you can avoid it. So with that being said, let's get into the video. All right, so these are the 7 steps we're gonna go through in today's video. We're first going to talk about the market. Which market should you invest in? 2, what size of deals should you focus on? 3, network and how do we network to find deals? 4, making offers. As we start to make offers on these properties, how should we compose our offers? Then we're going to talk about the different financing options you have, different ways to raise capital for these deals, and finally, how to scale up this business model. Let's get into it. All right, so first thing that I want to talk through is the market. All right, and choosing a real estate market really depends on number 2, which is the deal size. Okay, so choosing the market that you invest in for these multifamily properties depends on how much capital you have and depends on the deal size that we're going to go after and the deal size that we're going to focus on. All right, so for me and my real estate fund, my real estate business, my multifamily business that I'm out there buying, we're buying all the time. We're buying all across the country, but mostly in the Midwest. And there's a couple of reasons for that. 1, I have a ton of experience in the Midwest doing tons of single family houses. I have a network of people in there on the ground in these different markets across the country. Now for deal size, I've tested out tons of different deal sizes. I've tested out 4 units, 6 units, 8 units, 12 units. I've tested 150, 200, 300 unit apartment buildings. And kind of my bread and butter on this is what I found personally is I found 20 to 80 unit apartment buildings in the Midwest is my bread and butter and the deals that I'm going after currently this year. It's easier to raise. It's easier to find those deals. The financing makes sense on those properties, and there's less competition. Okay, it's too small for the big guy and it's too big for the little guy. So the average fix and flipper can't afford to get into a 20 to 80 unit. And then the big guy is looking for something that's 100, 150 units plus. So this kind of middle ground area still gets the best non-recourse financing, which I'll talk about a little bit later. There's plenty of deals out there that you can purchase. And for you really have to look at your bank account, what you're looking to accomplish, and kind of back into that number. Okay. So for example, one of the tools that we use to go out there and find deals is Crexy. So what you can do is you can come in here, click multifamily. You want to remove all this stuff. Let's just focus on apartment buildings today. And you can come and start thinking about some of these filters. All right, like what minimum and maximum purchase price do I want to like buy these properties at, right? And you might be thinking, oh, as cheap as possible. Well, multifamily is a little bit different. If you haven't bought multifamily before, let's talk a little bit about financing. So financing for multifamily properties, you can go and get Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac small balance loans on these properties. What that means is that these are non-recourse loans, no recourse at all. So if you buy like a 4-unit building for like $1 million or 500 grand or whatever, anything below $1 million, typically you have to go to conventional or DSCR financing. Think about like Kiavi or Lima One, right? All these hard money lenders. But with multifamily, as soon as you get over a loan amount above $1 million, now you can get non-recourse financing backed by the federal government. This in the multifamily world is called agency debt. Okay, so you actually do want to buy properties where you have a minimum purchase price of like $1.3 million. Okay, so $1.3 million, we're going to need to put 30% down, right? So 1.3 million, we're going to have to put down 30%. So that's around $390,000 just for like the bare minimum property that I would recommend. Antoine, how many units is that? Typically what we're seeing in the Midwest is around $100,000 a unit. So that's around a 13-unit building, which in my opinion is a little bit small. You probably want to get up to like 20, 24 units just to help with the vacancy and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where we are with this. Now, if you're listening and this is your first time buying apartment buildings, you probably want to go max like $2.5 million. Boom. Now, this range is going to get you the best properties with the best financing. All right. Now, let's take a look at some of these other filters and we can kind of go through them together. All right. I typically recommend properties that are not vacant. Agency loans you can only get if they are 90% plus occupied. Again, I would not buy something below 20 units, just in my opinion. because it's going to be really hard first to maintain like 90%, 80% occupancy on these properties if you have less than 20 units. So let's go ahead and click that. And now what I'd like to do is kind of look at the map. So boom, there we go. This is going to help you. Like I'm telling you, by going in here and doing this process, you're going to kind of be like, oh, interesting. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about this, right? So just looking at your budget, how much cash you have, your real estate experience, plugging in like how to get the best loans in this multifamily space and how we want to be above 20 units. Like it's kind of telling us, you can see like Washington only has 2 buildings, right? California's a no-go. Nevada, there's nothing. Utah, nothing. Idaho, nothing. Montana, nothing. All right, cool. We're moving more into the Midwest. All right, fantastic. So now we got a ton of stuff in Texas, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, New York, right? And then the next thing I look for is more landlord friendliness. So where are going to be the most landlord friendly states? Texas, I pretty much stay away from just because of the property taxes have been going up crazily. So let's go around here. It seems like there's a lot of stuff. We got Kansas City. We have St. Louis, Missouri. We have Chicago, Dayton. Let's start in Ohio. So we have Dayton. We have something over here. So here's a couple of deals over here. Let's take a look at this. We have one in Louisville and one in Cincinnati. Both the prices are undisclosed. Let's go see if we can find something else. All right, so cool. So based on our quick little research, we got this. We got the Bard Apartments, 24 one-bedroom units with stable cash flow. It's been listed for 205 days. Again, let's just use this as like an example. But we're buying this building for $1.5 million. Multifamily, stabilized, 8% cap rate, 96% occupied. So we can go and get agency debt on this property, right? 24 one-bedroom units with stable cash flow. All right. This is great. This is exactly the kind of property that you probably want to go in there and buy on your first deal. Now, the amount of capital you're going to need in order to go and buy this property, where it's this 1.5 million, you're probably going to need to close like around 30% of that. So you're going to need around $450,000 to go out there and buy this exact property properly, another $100,000 in closing costs, another $100,000 in repairs. So it gets up there pretty quick. 450, 550, 650. We're looking at $650,000 just to buy the property and cash flow it. Now, the great thing, and probably why you already clicked on this video, the great thing about multifamily is that we can add value to the property. We can increase the rents over time. We can increase the profitability of the building, which therefore directly correlates to the value of the building. Because, as you've probably seen in other YouTube videos, is that multifamily real estate is so great because they're not based on comps. It's based on the cash flow the property produces and this cap rate. And if you don't know what a cap rate is the return on investment if you were to buy the property all cash. And what I'm seeing in the Midwest is anything from like a 7 to a 10% kind of cap rate range, sometimes even down to 6 to 10% on a cap rate kind of range. So this 8.5 is right in the middle. Obviously, there's tons of stuff that I want to dive into on this deal, right? Like the location, the tenants, are the tenants paying, eviction, landlord friendliness, can I improve the rents, any deferred maintenance, right? There's so many things, which is like for a whole other video. This is just going to be on how to just go out there and find your first deal and go through the really high level 30,000 overview if you do want to go down this path, okay? So again, this building looks fantastic. We can buy it for $1.5 million, right? We can get an agency loan. They're going to give us a loan for $1 million or $1.2 million, $1.1 million, right? So we've chosen the market, and the market kind of showed itself through the deal size, right? And let's say you go through and you start analyzing a bunch of deals, and you just need more and more deals. Antoine, how have you been able to buy so many apartment buildings on your end? The way that we've been able to find apartment buildings on our end is by using Crexi. Okay, it's either Crexi or LoopNet. Those are going to be the two biggest ones. But it's by doing this, coming in here and calling Jack, and then flying out to Jack and being like, hey, Jack, I'm in Akron. Would love to take you to lunch or dinner or whatever the case may be. Actually going out there and meeting him, shaking his hand. And so that's why step number 3 is network. And this means network your ass off with real estate agents. Find as many real estate agents that you can possibly find. This is where your deal flow is. Compared to the single family home game where there's more realtors than there are deals, the multifamily game is a little bit different. There are not so many real estate brokers, multifamily real estate brokers, for the amount of deals that there are. So every single broker that you reach out to is going to have a ton of deals. whether deals they're working on or deals they have in the pipeline. So networking with real estate agents is going to be a big key and a big unlock to getting more deals in the multifamily space. It's going to be by networking with real estate agents. Okay. So that's what we've done. We've chosen the markets based on the deal size and the parameters that we want to meet. Then we start analyzing deals. We give feedback to the current listing agents. We get on phone calls with the current listing agents. We fly out to the current listing agents, shake their hand, take them to lunch. Hey, you got any other deals? Hey, this is what we're looking for, yada, yada, yada. And then you start making offers. Okay. Now, big in between here is the deal analyzer. Antoine, what about analyzing the deals? How do we go out there? How do we analyze these properties? Just Google it. I do have a multifamily spreadsheet that I use, but there's probably other people that have made way more robust spreadsheets than I have. So I just search in Google multifamily deal analyzer. You can come and maybe just download one of these and just use it for the meantime. Again, like math is all done the same way. So don't worry too much about the math or the details. You're going to learn as you go. The great thing about the multifamily home space is that the lenders are actually going to do a lot of that multifamily like deal analysis for you. So even if your analysis is completely dog shit, it doesn't really matter because you're going to take that analysis, send it to the lender, and they're like, buddy, this deal doesn't make any sense at all. Okay. So they're going to be the ones that are really going to hold the bag and hold the money and also underwrite your deal for you. Okay. So keep that in mind. Don't spend too much time on the deal analysis. Obviously, you want to make sure the deal makes sense financially and pencils out, but don't like get into the intricate like month by month expenses and cash flows and in and out. Buy something simple. This is your first apartment building. We're going to buy something super simple. All right. So now hopefully you started to make some offers. And then eventually, once you make 5, 10, 20, 30 offers, which is about how many offers it took us to get our first building under contract, hopefully you build some relationships with some real estate agents or brokers. Now it's time to go on ahead and start applying for financing. Now, what I would do is reach out to the network that you built and ask them if they have anybody that can finance this deal. And you want to ask for agency debt. This is going to be Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Okay, these are both government agencies that lend on small multifamily properties to real estate investors. Okay, now they do have a couple things that I want to talk through. One, they're going to really want to know your real estate experience. If you don't have any real estate experience, they're going to want to know the team on the ground and how good the team on the ground is, their real estate experience. Okay, you're going to have a net worth requirement above the loan amount. So if you're getting a loan for $1 million, you have to show that you have over $1 million in net worth. And there is also a whole bunch of other things that you have to show and prove to these agency lenders in order to get the agency financing. So just keep that in mind. This financing is very diligent, but you do want to go ahead and get the non-recourse financing. I probably would not recommend for your first couple of deals getting any kind of recourse financing, getting any kind of hard money. Just try to go and get the agency debt, which is what we call it in this space, as quick as you possibly can. Okay. Now, as we spoke earlier, raising capital. So what people do and what syndicators like myself do is we will go and get an apartment building under contract for a couple $1 million. We have to raise $1 to $2 million to buy the property, renovate it, rent it out, and then stabilize it, right? If we don't have enough capital, what we'll do is go and raise money from the public. And there's a couple of different ways to do this, but most of the time this is done with an SEC Reg D offering. So this is where you go and file with the SEC. And there's tons of other videos about this, like how to start a real estate fund, how to raise money from accredited investors, how do I file with the SEC. So you're going to have to go and hire a lawyer to help you with all this kind of stuff. But if you're not just raising from people that you already know, like your friends and family, if you're not just using your own capital, you're going to have to figure out the money raising side of things. So just as an example from what we have done. So we'll go get an apartment building under contract. We'll create a real estate syndication. We'll file it with the SEC. We'll then use that to go and raise money for our deals. So we'll reach out to people. We can do marketing, but we can only accept accredited investors. So if you are an accredited investor, you make over $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year joint if you and you have a spouse, or you have $1 million more in net worth, you are able to invest in my deals. You are able to reach out to me. I am able to share information. If you are not an accredited investor, then you wouldn't be able to invest in my deals. You would have to go and do something on your own. Okay. So raising capital, depending on where you are, for your first couple deals, you might want to use your own capital if you have the money. If you don't have the money, then you're probably going to have to do a syndication. Now, doing the legal process, the paperwork for a syndication can cost $20,000 to $40,000. It's very, very expensive to do so. And you have to make these huge documents, hundreds and hundreds of pages of documentation in order to file with the SEC and go through all these approvals and all this jump through and all that kind of stuff. So raising capital is going to be the key here to scale, which is the next one, to scale your multifamily business model. Now, don't be like me and get in the trap of saying, oh, I don't need to do a real estate syndication. I'm just going to raise the money from myself and my family and just raise the money in-house, or me and my dad are going to fund the whole deal. That's exactly what me and my dad did. For the first 5 apartment buildings that we bought, we did not raise any capital. It was just me and my dad. Actually, 3 out of the 5, we did not raise any capital. The other 2, we just raised it from some of our friends. But we didn't do the SEC, thing. We didn't go and start a syndication, start a real estate fund. I did that many, many years later. I did that this year. The posting of this video year, which is 2025, is when I finally went through the real estate syndication route and started doing that. And the reason why is because if you try to do it yourself and you try to invest a ton of money into every single deal, you're going to eventually get capped. And at the time we had, cash coming in from all these different businesses. It was a place to store our money. But, what happens if that business does dry up? What happens if you don't have cash to then go and buy more multifamily? Then this new business, this multifamily business that you just created, kind of stops. And that's what happened with us. We bought 5 buildings and then we were kind of tapped out. There was nothing more that we could do. So my recommendation to you is to create your multifamily business in a way that is scalable. You don't have to go and file with the SEC for your first couple of deals, but once you do want to reach out to more broad of people, start raising money from people that aren't just friends and family, but more of a outside knit people, you want to go and file with the SEC and create a Reg D offering that allows you to go out and market yourself as a multifamily professional and raise money. And so that is my number one key to scaling is, even if you got $1 million in the bank and we wanted to buy apartment buildings, like you can only afford 2. But wouldn't it be much better if you built a small little business around it? Maybe you analyze deals here and there, but then you put $100,000. Now you can buy 10 times the amount of units, right? And there's this whole math around, you can go watch other videos on YouTube and YouTube University around how to make money as a real estate fund, how do funds make money, but you charge points and fees and you get, way more profit of the deal than the amount of money you put in. So I would go and recommend watching some of those other videos that kind of teach you how real estate funds work behind the scenes. But that would be my recommendation. If you do want to scale your multifamily portfolio, it's get in on it with other people. Now, of course, if you don't want to deal with other people, you just want to do something for you and your family, by all means, keep it in-house. But for me, I always like to think of mass scale. And I like to do things and start a new business, start a new venture, start a new fund with ways that I can get other people involved and what's the highest leverage that I have in that. So with that being said, thanks for staying till the end of the video. I hope this was helpful. Good luck on going out there and investing in your first apartment building complex. If you have any questions, because I know this is kind of like very, very 30,000 foot overview. If you have any other questions about this, what videos do you want to see me do next? Is it around like deal analysis, how do real estate funds make money, how to start a real estate fund, how to raise money, how to run ads to raise money, whatever you guys want to see, please put it down in the comments. Would love to know from you what you want to see next. Thank you. See you on the next one.